Hey guys, it's Ryan the BugMan, and we are coming back. We're going to be talking with Martin Mikulas today. If you're not sure what's going on, this is just another episode, continuation from the last episode. Martin is here in the studio. He and I are just having kind of a sit down, lacking a campfire. We're going to sit down and just have a talk about stuff. It goes all the way back to when we met, all the way through, and we're just continuing on from the last episode. But before we go deep diving into this one, I want to make sure we come back around. I want to give Martin a chance to introduce himself, give you folks an opportunity to understand who he is, what he does, and why in the world is Martin even here. So I want to make sure we type into that. So Martin, if you can, hook me up. Who are you? Where do you live? What do you do?
I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Nice.
No, yeah, I'm Martin. Like I said last time, part-time bugman, full-time entomologist. I work for USDA PPQ as an area identifier in Laredo, Texas, where I identify insects submitted by customs and kind of give them a pass-fail about, whether or not that trailer or that conveyance can come into the country. Putting it very stupid simple. That's
which wasn't stupid or simple for what it's worth, because I understood about half of what he just said. So if you're ahead of me on that, kudos to you. But that's professional bug guy terminology for he does something very cool in a very unique place that is very, very important. And that's why I love having Martin on our team with the LLC. He's probably one of our he's probably overqualified to do what he does for me, because in Laredo, Texas, he's very limited as to how much direct participation he can have. But I still bring him along on some trips now and then. He and I talk a big talk about getting together and doing more trips and hunting together and doing all this crazy cool stuff. But Martin, I want to segue into, now you live in Texas. And
Yeah.
For those of us who have visited Texas, who have spent maybe a few minutes there by comparison, even on the border like that. But give me, and we didn't tap into this a whole lot in the last episode, so I want to talk about this real quick. And then we're gonna have some fun. Trust me, this is gonna get deep here in a little bit. And I mean that in a good way. But what can you tell me about living in Texas, and whether you want to make that as a comparison to anything or just what do you have to say about living in Texas? What's it like?
Texas is just Texas. It's pretty incomparable to anywhere else in the United States, anywhere else in the world. Really, I think globally, the mix of culture, the mix of habitat, geography, biology that you have from.
So it's important that we leaving politics and all that
aside,
bullshit aside.
I mean, that's its own thing.
Okay. I just want to make sure people understand where we're not going to go here, guys. This is not what this is about. So you're relating that to literally a regional geographic aspect at this point.
So you have, in far west Texas, like Big Bend, you are at the edge of the Chihuahua Desert, which goes all the way into Arizona and parts of northern Mexico. Goes all the way up to Sonora. Then heading east, you have everything in the Panhandle, where it's just open, empty, nothing. Towns of population 75. Big agriculture, big beef industry up there. Then you have Central Texas, which is hill country, so that's its own distinct geographic region. And then that's where you have Austin and San Antonio.
Bring us back to, I'll bet you half the people watching this or listening to this, if you're just going to listen to this, that's good. You're not going to miss, we're not going to be splashing all kinds of pretty pictures up. If you want to listen to this, go ahead and just listen, because it's not a podcast, but it is as close as we're going to get for now. Let's stick to Laredo. I'm guessing half the people listening to this aren't even sure where Laredo is, let alone some of these people probably don't even know where Texas is. So
if anybody
bring
has
us
a map,
into Laredo.
Pull up a map of Texas, which I found the couple of times that I've driven across Texas. I don't think maps of Texas give Texas justice. Texas is the only place where I've driven 75, 80 miles an hour across a city and had still been in a city after an hour and a half. That's how big Texas is.
It sounds like Dallas-Fort Worth is similar. You're in Dallas. Houston?
Houston.
There you go. Yeah, I've been to Dallas-Fort Worth a couple times, and that's a big area.
Huge.
But what about Laredo? Let's focus in on Laredo. Give me an idea. What's it like in Laredo?
So you pull up your map. Trying to paint the picture here, but you pull up your map, find San Antonio, find I-35, and take it the whole way down. That is one of the main route. Well, the main route coming from Mexico through Texas and up through the United States.
Okay.
After San Antonio, it splits and it's I-10 and whatever else. But I'm all the way down there on the Mexican border.
Are you Gulf?
No,
because Brownsville would be Gulf.
Correct. So I'm on the opposite side.
Brownsville would be northeast of you.
Southeast.
Southeast. Okay, that's
Southeast.
see. Even I don't know Laredo.
Yeah.
So there you go. Because I've never been to Laredo, at least to a degree. I've never spent time in. I was going to say because I've been to Brownsville and I've been to San Antonio and I've driven driven into Mexico and I've driven all the way up to Santa Ana. I've been all the way up into the Rio Grande. So I know I've been around or in Laredo, but not memorable. So there you go.
No, and it has changed so much even since you've been there.
Sure.
Like you could find pictures from back in the 70s and 80s or early 90s when you may have been there.
That's when I was there.
And it was barely anything. It was just a little shitty little border town, and it kind of is sometimes. I love Laredo, but it is what it is. It's a small town. But when you come into it, you see most of the shipping. You might see some oil stuff. You see a lot of cold storage units, a lot of just trucking and things like that.
Very industrial.
Very industrial as you come into it. And then you go through suburban areas, and then the closer you get to the border itself or the bridges, then you get into the old neighborhoods and things like that, they're very beautiful, old, like Adobe style, stucco, like old, like if you go watch an old Western, like an
West
old
and Southwest kind of stuff. Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah, that in itself is unique. What else about Laredo? What about, not so much your job. Your job is unique enough as it is, but what else about living there makes it, what do you do in Laredo? What do people do in Laredo?
It's not much. You have cookouts, you hang out, go to the bars. There's just, unfortunately, these little border towns there's not a whole lot going on.
Okay.
You see a lot of, and it's something that I've picked up and other people that I've talked to. You have a bunch of people who are 18 and younger. You have a bunch of people who are 35 or 40 and older. But that whole, 20 to 35 is almost non-existent except for those who are there as federal employees.
They all jump away and run to college?
Or whether they're in college and stay away, or some of them come back and have businesses.
Gotcha. So that whole center demographic is kind of missing. Yeah. That's got to be odd.
Yeah, and especially somebody who just hit 30, it's very hard, or had been very hard, to connect with people my age and find friends and significant others and whatever else. That in itself has been a struggle. Yeah, for sure.
But
culturally, it's...
Without delving into all of the political aspects, is it dangerous? It's... No, look, because as soon as we talk about border, everybody's going to chase migrant immigration politics, and they're going to expect that kind of paradigm. I don't want to do that, and I certainly don't believe it's about that. But
so it's very important.
What is it?
When you're in Laredo, you may as well be in Mexico already.
Okay.
You don't get the vibe that you're in the United States.
Okay.
Most of the people there, you will go to McDonald's and order in English, and they will respond in Spanish.
Okay.
Same thing with Target.
Do they speak English or up, down, or who knows?
A lot of people do, but won't. But then on the flip side, there's people who speak English and know Spanish, but won't speak Spanish, because to them it's a point of pride that they made it across.
Sure.
And they're not going back to...
Yep.
They've escaped whatever it is that they escaped. And,
Okay.
So it goes both ways. And then there's people who want to preserve their heritage. So you have a little bit of both. But you never know who, when you approach somebody, whether or not you're going to hear Spanish or English.
Okay.
Just the whole culture there is...
Do you speak Spanish?
I do not. I'm getting to the point where I can pick it up in context.
Okay.
But I can't speak it myself.
Keywords and things like that you recognize to know when somebody's saying basic stuff, you kind of get an idea. Yeah, I used to be the same way when I would travel Central and South America. I never, I still can't, but I never spoke Spanish. Other than I know all the same words everybody knows. Yeah. I know, but I also knew keywords like hold your net up in the air and wave your net around and yell Mariposa.
Yeah.
Even put some Spanish twist, Matiposa or Mariposa. People know you're there for butterflies.
Well, and it's funny because...
But that's all I really knew. Cerveza, because I was always getting beer at night, and my hotel number. Sometimes I would even know how to say that. My room number. And Mariposa, just to bail myself out of whatever bad situation I might get into. Explain to people why I'm there.
In high school.
I probably did too, but
I ended up taking like 4 years of German, but who knew? Like, it's one of those things you don't know.
Sure.
Who knew I was going to be living on the border after I failed Spanish?
Yeah, who knows? Who knew back then that I wish I had learned fluent Spanish. I really do, because I wish I'd learned something more than just English, because that's all I know.
One of the things that, because the culture down there is very Catholic. I can draw a lot of similarities between my mom's side of the family that is Irish Catholic from New Jersey. There's so much just cultural similarity between that and like Mexican Catholic.
On a pride level?
On a pride level, on just the
religious connection
and the way that influences your daily life and the expectations on family.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool comparison. Yeah. That's kind of nice the way that melds and gives a comparison of a similarity.
It helped me
between
fit in
two
a lot.
Totally different places that are so different yet still connect. That's kind of neat. That's good. All right, I don't want to invest the entire time on that, but I think that's awesome.
Oh, but you did ask what kind of danger it was.
Absolutely.
I want to come back
absolutely.
To that.
I'm glad you tapped back in, because I do want to know that.
One of the things that I think most people should know is that in most of the border towns and in between, there is such a presence of federal law enforcement, for good or bad.
Explain who that is.
You have Customs and Border Protection, which is your blue shirts and green shirts. You have Customs that are at the port of entries.
So there's Customs officials, and then there's Border Patrol. Okay.
So then your green shirts are your
Border Patrol. Yep. Those I'm familiar with, but I don't know the other dudes.
So, and again, it's just because they have different functions. You know, if you've come into the country from anywhere, you go through Customs. Blue. Gotcha. You know, you have FBI down there.
Okay.
Homeland Security, which Border Patrol is part of.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of others. I've seen federal police officers.
And that still doesn't even tap into local and state, which are obviously there as well. Yeah. So, okay, I get it.
So you have all of those, and then especially when you're in a lot of the apartments, anywhere you go, you're going to have law enforcement living there.
Okay. So they live amongst the people.
So that in itself, but then you hear from, whether or not you're supposed to hear it, but you do hear about gang members and cartel that get picked up a block away from you. Mm-hmm. So that is a reality, but, for lack of a better term, they don't like the shit where they eat.
So in other words,
they're not going to cause problems on our end because they don't want, I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. The cartel doesn't like to be looked at.
Okay. Yeah, they don't want to out themselves like that. That's fine. I get that. The point I was going to say was, and this is where people I think can relate. So you don't wake up every morning, strap on a pair of 6-shooters, and step out your door and go protect yourself from the bad people that are waiting to attack you.
No, I've had worse experiences or uncomfortable experiences in a place like Roswell, New Mexico, than I have anywhere along the Mexican border.
Okay, and I've been there. I don't,
mostly just because the people are weird.
That's what I was going to say. So those are weird people versus, horrible immigrants that are coming across to take over take over the world and make your life bad.
And it's not like we have a flood of people jumping over or flying over. Now, I'm not saying that there's not bad things happening, but I just don't see what is being said every day.
Okay,
I'll just leave it at that.
And that's fair. That's fair. But I think that's important to point that out, not so much to gravitate around or stay away from, yet still walk into the politics of it, because everybody's caught up in that, and we're all going to think that no matter what. But I think it's important to let people know that it's where you live, but it's probably not a lot different from living in Miami, or not a lot different from living in San Diego.
No,
or especially you go down into the southern end of San Diego, closer to the border, it's probably very, very similar to that.
Yes.
And where it's still nice, it's still normal. There's people that love it there, that will never leave there, that's where they want to be.
Yeah.
And then there's those people that are there for nefarious reasons, but they're not standing out there and waving down cars on the highway in order to show themselves out there and cause problems. So that's good. That's good to know. So that makes me feel better that at least you live in a place that isn't hardline dangerous.
No, the crime that happens there is usually just really dumb. Anywhere that you would get anywhere else.
Yeah,
somebody being dumb,
like typical
and
crime.
Something happens. It's just
very typical crime. Okay, that's good to know. So it's nice to know that Laredo ain't such a bad place. And that's cool. But it has its traits and it has its personality, and the people took people to blend into it, and that's good.
And I love it.
That's cool.
When you go to a place like Laredo, specifically Laredo, you either love it or you hate it.
Okay.
There's no in between.
Well, I've heard that about Texas in general.
Yeah, I mean,
I know a lot of people that moved to Texas and found out within a year they hate it. It's just not what they wanted. It's not what they thought it was going to be.
And I can agree.
But
Texas
I know other people that've been in
at
Texas
all
for 40 years now that they love it. That's like that's it.
But even then, you know,
they will probably die in Texas
from
because that's
Dallas to Austin. That's different. From Austin to Laredo, that's different. From El Paso to, I'm using Austin as a central.
Sure.
From El Paso to there is still different.
Cool.
So yeah, every main spot, you're going to have a completely different lifestyle, different vibe. In Houston, you have way more cultural diversity than you do along the border. Along the border, or specifically Laredo, it's 90 or 99% Hispanic, and even 90% of the Hispanic population is then Mexican.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
As a Caucasian coming from the Northeast, you know, I got dropped into a very foreign experience when I decided to move down there.
And I think you've integrated and adapted pretty well, considering.
Yeah, I'm the token white boy at everybody's Christmas party.
I don't even want to repeat that. Wow, that's a good one. Hope that one doesn't hit the edit floor. Well, either way, I don't regret asking that question now, but we'll go with that. We'll end there on that aspect. But I want to leave that. I don't want to spend too much time living in Laredo.
No, one last thing though.
Fair enough.
And I know you said not to make it political, but I implore anybody who is voting any which way, realize that has an impact for somewhere that is not your home. And there are people experiencing things every day along the border that I don't care if you're in Washington State, Washington, D.C., or New York City, you're just not going to understand it.
It's a matter of qualifications. If we're not qualified, we probably ought not to be throwing down our unqualified opinions in a lot of cases. And I think that's the same with a lot of things, but that's a very good point to make. That's valid. And I hope the takeaway is valid on that, and then it doesn't stir up a hornet's nest.
Well, I mean, I feel the same way about, another hornet's nest. I feel the same way about places like Yellowstone and the Endangered Species Act. And
sure,
you know, just
sure. Qualifications is qualifications. Yeah. You know, there are always going to be topics, whether it's social media or life in general. There are going to be topics I will not delve into. I don't even have an opinion, because even if I have one, it's not a qualified opinion.
Absolutely.
So I don't go there. I let the rest of the world be angry, and I stay out of it, and I stay in my safe bubble, and that's where I love it, because I don't have to delve in. So kudos to you on that. I'm glad you brought that was well worth it. So good on you. Let's move on, because I have a feeling that's going to stir up a few hornets, and I'm trying real hard not to do that, because that's not what this channel and this company is about. But I respect you for that. I know that was important to you to bring that up.
No,
that's important.
Texans, and I don't say us Texans, but I drank the water. I'm not leaving anytime soon.
Yeah.
But no, it's something that I realized, and that we as Texans don't vocalize enough. I don't think.
Seriously. If anything, it's the exact opposite, and that's because most of those people voicing are people that aren't from Texas.
Yep.
So I think that's cool. I see that now that you bring that up, and I see that, so I get that. So awesome. That's good. That's a nice way to segue out of that. Let's go to a happy place. Let's talk about the present, in other words. Yep. And I want to talk about not necessarily what you're doing, because you've already told us that. What I want to talk about is, where do you foresee yourself around the BugMan company?
And that's hard, because I think as both of our lives change and where we're at and the capacities of at least my job, it's going to change. It's hard for me to do anything remote for you.
Mm-hmm. Directly.
Yeah. There's a lot we can do indirectly, or, you know, if we really buckle down and do an official podcast type thing.
Even that still has to be done remotely. So I think it's important to tap in real quick. And even though this is going to come off as a recap, for anybody who saw the last episode, Martin has been critical to aspects of the initial takeoff. Not so much for the company per se, other than his ability to do programs and his ability to help me with certain aspects there that are lightweight stuff. But he became a major integral part of the launching the YouTube channel, the technology around it. He then became an integral part of, as a production manager, and I love to use that term even though you never got paid for that, but as a production manager, Martin has always been involved in establishing and helping me to be organized and telling me where to stand and when to talk, and in charge of videography and a lot of photography, things like that. Whereas now in Laredo, you're a little distant. You're not able to help those things, but it doesn't mean I don't still fall back on you for tech advice once in a while, or just in general. I still like your opinion, and I like to keep you in the loop when something's going on. And especially if we're going to travel, I try to always bring you on those things, and that's super nice that you're always willing to stop what you're doing and be there. So for that's where he has kept himself viable, and I've always allowed and relied on Martin for those aspects, because he is an important part. He's been there too long to not recognize him for those things now. Now that we understand why you're here, and that's important, and we understand that you are qualified, that's important, because there's always that aspect. Even if it's a remote prediction, where do you think or feel your involvement with the Bugman LLC is going to take you?
Where it's going to take me?
In other words, do you think your capabilities are going to change? Do you think your capabilities are going to change in a good way, in a bad way, or just kind of stay on the same line they are? I don't put that pressure on you either way.
No, because I think it's going to come down to it. It's all learning experiences. Even the last time we got together in Arizona had to be we worked this out remote, and then we act on it.
Line of fire.
So really it's going to be more of that, but as technology changes, or the direction of what you want to do with the channel or with the business will change, there's going to be a lot of pivot.
Got you.
So I can't even predict, because
till I call on you, you don't know.
No, because we can talk about it now, and we can talk about doing a podcast, and you'll hum and haw. I don't really want to do that. Well,
it's already been 5 years.
Yeah.
So
and then eventually, all of a sudden we're doing a podcast and talking online every week. It can happen like that.
Hey man, be sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you like what's going on here and you enjoy it. Then help me out. All right. Thanks. I appreciate your support. Take care, guys.
But as far as what my capabilities are, it's just kind of put me in a situation where I had to figure it out. Because even professionally, I'm finding I don't like bugs that much anymore.
Yeah.
I've become very jaded.
That's funny you say that, because a lot of people don't know that I graduated art school, because I didn't want to go to college, so I went to art school, because back in my life, you had to do something. You couldn't just go do nothing. You had to have something to fall back on. That was the rule I was given in my parents' household, was you had to fall back on it. So I went to art school. I graduated art school, but I got a job at Butterfly World.
Yes, sir.
Down in Florida, South Florida, just north of West Palm Beach. Tradewinds Park, Butterfly World, awesome opportunity. Thought I was going to be doing a million things. I thought I was going to be running the whole place. I had all these, big hopes and dreams, and then I found out that most of those things were never going to happen. Most of those things weren't, and I was going to end up stuck in a cubicle, miserable. Even though I was doing some amazing things, I was rearing and raising amazing tropical insects or butterflies that I'd collected all over the world previously, and even was going to go collect on other trips, subsequent trips beyond that. I was still miserable, and I never in a million years thought I would be making a living deep in bugs and insects and be miserable doing it. And I truly was miserable, and it wasn't I started losing interest. I almost walked away from bugs and insects altogether. I almost totally got out of it, and I didn't even touch a lot of things. I didn't go collecting. I didn't do anything with the collection. I ignored, because I would do that for 8 or 10 hours a day, and the last thing I wanted to do was come home and do more of that. But as soon as I walked away from the job, I immediately got reinterested and started traveling and started giving a shit about my collection and paying attention to my bugs, and started looking for a local 4-H club and started diving in on those things.
Like, I'd never leave my agency. I love working for USDA PPQ. I will always, back them up. But at least career-wise, and I'm looking at different avenues and exploring different things. I find that I'm better with people, and I have more fun chasing problems through manuals than I do identifying insects.
Yeah, I think there's honestly too much of a good thing is a possible thing. And
Yes.
when you hit that line and you hit that level, it's awesome to realize that. And best of all, it's even better when you're willing to walk away from something that was a great thing, something that was a great opportunity, that still is a great thing and a great opportunity. But now you've been there, you've done it, you don't ever want to do that again. And you can walk away from that and then turn it into something even cooler, like drive an airboat in the Everglades. That's what I did. I left Butterfly World and started driving an airboat, giving airboat tours in the Everglades.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much cooler than that.
Well, no, I just spent a month up in Austin in the State Plant Health Director's office as the State Operations Coordinator for Domestic Programs of Texas.
Realizing none of us have a clue what that means.
So essentially what that is, you are managing, you're not in a non-supervisory role, you're helping manage. You have AQI versus domestic programming. AQI is all of your import-export stuff, and then domestic programming is anything that happens on the interior that has nothing to do with stuff, or directly have nothing to do with stuff leaving the country. So any of your invasive species programs, for those of you in Pennsylvania, lanternfly is a really good example. Along the border, we have the fruit fly program, we have CHIRP, which is citrus health, and there's a couple other things. So you're acting kind of as that liaison between the area supervisors or offices and then the state plant health director.
Okay.
Putting out fires, solving problems.
Big professional, technical, boring stuff.
But, man, I love digging through a manual. No, I do. Like I think it's the problem solving.
Yeah. Well, see, that's where the professional entomologist versus the guy who didn't want to be a professional entomologist. That's where you and I, that's where we're different in those levels, where we're both super happy and super love what we do.
And because,
But that stuff right there would bore me to death. But I love the fact that I'm just saying in general. But I love the fact that somebody out there wants to do it, is willing to do it. And then best of all, you love what you do.
Because I've done identifications for state programs, for federal programs at this point, and there's only so many beetle dicks you can look at.
No, most of the people have no idea what
so
Wow!
So when you do identifications on a lot of beetles and moths, a huge part of that identification is either a full or partial dissection where you pull out the male genitalia, and you can definitively confirm the identification of most species with the male genitalia. So with beetles, you pull out what is called the adiagus out of the end of the abdomen. It's a hard, for lack of a better term, it's hard, it's sclerotized, it's made of hard material, and it's effectively the beetle penis. And with moths, you cut open the abdomen, and they have an internalized structure.
I say a lot of that goes on with entomology, and I don't think a lot of people realize that when you break it into hard scientific science, for lack of a better term, but keeping things layman term here, when you break it down to that, a lot of good, solid identifying and research around identification of insects, and I'm going to be general here, is around the genitalia. And I know lots and lots and lots of both amateur and professional entomologists who are very, very specific about that aspect in order to do what they have to do to create papers, to create write-ups, to identify, to find out if this is a new species, to these things all fall into, for some reason, somehow, science forces them to go straight to the genitalia.
But people are a little pervy. No, but then I think that's part of the reason why, I don't think a lot of entomologists like me, is because I'm okay with talking about bugs and beetle dicks, but they are, you have to pull the adiagus and then...
Oh, yeah, I couldn't do that. Nope.
No. Nope. Every day I'm looking at bugs, every day I'm pulling beetle dicks.
No way. Couldn't do that. I'd be bored after the third one, and I'd want to quit. I wouldn't make it. Pay me all the money you want. I wouldn't make it. Not even through day one. I couldn't do that. That's just how I am, man. I got to roll doing what I do. Yeah. That ain't what I do. So I know people that do it, kudos to you. Kudos to those folks who do that, especially the amateur entomologists out there that are doing that. Is amazing to me that they go to those extremes and those levels.
Pulling it back to like the 4-H entomology club, that experience and being able to relay sometimes big scientific topics and make it digestible to general audiences, or even just that communicating with people, has helped. Because every day when I do an identification, I now have to call customs and say, these are the options that the broker has. Just kind of taking it full circle. Like I'm still pulling stuff from my past into my present.
And that makes me feel good that, as far back as 4-H entomology, when you're 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14 years old, that you're able to pull that stuff into present day professional fields. That right there is where I take my pride and where I'm happy to see these kids do that, where they're able to flourish in their current lives and lifestyles and careers, where these are all basic stuff that they didn't even know was happening back in the day. So that's very cool. I'm always
even back then, it was 2001. Customs and Border Protection. Well, Customs used to be part of USDA. It no longer is. So even back then, like when the stuff that I had learned about careers and stuff in entomology, even back then, is completely different than it is now.
I'm happy you're with us, that's for sure. Let me I'll tap into a couple things here just to add my 2 cents in, because this'll. I can't tell you where I'm going to need you to delve into, or other than what you're already doing.
Yeah.
And there's. I try not to rely on you on a hard sense, especially physical sense, for the company more than what I know you're, breaking the laws of physics capable of doing. So, it just can't happen. So when I can call on you, or when I need to call on you for advice or something, I'm always happy to do that. And again, it's nice to see you stop, drop, and be there. That's a good thing. There are... the aspect of a podcast is a very real thing. We have talked about that. Had you not gone to Texas, we'd probably be already doing a legit podcast. Yeah. Whether anybody would like it or not, I don't know. But who knows? Hopefully they're enjoying this a little bit at least, because I can't say this will be too much different.
But at least they could probably watch this and be like, "Oh, I like this part. I hated that part."
Kind of like life.
No, so please, if you like certain parts and you want us to elaborate or go in on.
Yeah. Good point. So currently there is a plan for a podcast, even though that sort of delves toward the future. Currently there is plans for more travel. Currently there are plans to expand the channel, the YouTube channel. It's kind of already happening. I don't think a lot of people probably pay much attention to analytics, because I don't. But I have an editing team, and Nell is one of those folks, and she has exponentially blown this channel up just by getting in there and paying attention to the important parts of it that I was not willing, and still I don't want any part of that stuff. She's great at that, so she's kind of blown this channel up a lot. The video production is a lot nicer and a lot better. The editing is a lot better. That's all her. That's all her. That is not me, man.
I don't have the time.
I don't want no part of it. That's her. So you can thank Nell for these things. Throw that in the comments, man, if you're into that. For the time being, I think the channel needs to just kind of self-evolve and kind of build.
It will. It will conform itself over
We
time.
will. We are hitting bigger numbers. I'm making a few dollars of gas money every month. That's kind of nice. It's nice to see the channel generate that. I'm not in it for the money, and I never was and never wanted to be, but it's nice to see it producing something. I think that's the subscribers I have to thank for that. I mean, honestly, Nell lines everybody up, but then you guys are the ones who kick in and subscribe to the channel and commit to the content that's here. So there's that. On the whole, my biggest current, and it's not a problem per se, but my biggest current focus for this company, for the Bugman company, is to hire people. I am screaming for qualified people to come work for me. And this is not just in Pennsylvania. this is nationwide. I need to hire people all over the place. And I'm not going to make this a big hiring plug because I can do that on my own. But that's a current thing that I'm in the middle of. It's a big focus right now. I want to cover as many different regions as I can in this. Right. Texas would be nice. Not a lot of business in Laredo. But at the same time, you know, there's birthday parties everywhere. Every kid in America is having a birthday party. And at one point, every kid in America liked bugs. They may not like them anymore, but they liked them. And most kids will eventually like bugs. But we're not there to solve that problem. We're not there to give every kid in America a bug program.
Absolutely.
That breaks my heart because I know how those kids are. So there's a big need for what we do everywhere, but I just can't get enough qualified, reliable, committed, Martin kind of help to cover all those areas. I tell people all the time I could hire 100 people today and still never even scratch that itch. I could never get enough people. If I had 100 people on my payroll today, couldn't even come close.
I mean, it would be nice if we could just live off the laurels of
I can hire, and I can train and I can resource every single person working for me, every single person who wants to commit. But I can't give you health benefits. So you can't. The other part. So you can't quit. You can't quit your job and come work for me. You're going to need a job, or you're at least going to need health benefits. Yeah. And most of your work is going to be summertime, and that's the other thing. And this is not full-time work. This is summertime on demand. But there's a lot of people out there that probably don't realize that. That don't realize that it's fun. If anything, this is one of the most unique jobs ever.
100%.
And everybody working for me will tell you how fun this is to get up in the morning and go teach people about bugs and insects and make a ton of people really happy.
Yes.
And then go home at the end of the day feeling like you've accomplished something, feeling like you're appreciated for what you do. Because so many jobs out there. Yeah. So many jobs out there, you go home at the end of the day feeling like you're just going to come into the same bullshit the next day. That ain't the case with this job, man.
Well, no, and it's funny because even, I don't want to pull it away from the programs, but when I was in college, I did this. It was a spring camp where they had science students from the college go work at Shavers Creek.
Yep.
And we all had to have our nature names, so it would be fun. And I guess there's like some child protection type things around that, so they can't find you on social media. So you go by Bear, Firefly, whatever.
Got you.
I was Firefly because the Pennsylvania state insect is fireflies, and I'm into bugs. But I'm connected with a couple kids just about bugs. There was one girl, and her dad was a beekeeper, and so she was into bugs or whatever, and she's telling me like, no one likes me because I like bugs, and I'm like, well, that was me when I was your age, and whatever.
Said every entomologist on the planet.
But
nobody likes me because I like bugs.
But to have like a young person know that there's a career and there's people who are fun and that are like them or whatever, and not just that way, but for everybody needs somebody like this. But when the bus finally left and whatever, and she wasn't saying anything, but then like right towards the end of the driveway, that window came down and she leaned in and was like, "Goodbye, Firefly." And I'm the only one. But man, that made me cry because it was just having that kind of a connection with somebody, and you get that every time in its own way. You get that kind of connection every time you do one of these programs.
Yeah. It's neat to be in somebody's living room doing a birthday party.
Absolutely.
And connecting with you connect with one kid. Doesn't matter if there's 20 of his friends there. It doesn't matter. You're connecting to that one kid. You're there for them.
Yep.
You're there because that birthday kid likes bugs and either wanted or agreed to, or the parents know that kid likes and is connected to bugs and insects, that they're willing to pay me to come into their home and teach that one kid about bugs, and then inspire all of his friends as well, or their friends, because it's girls and boys, but inspire their friends about bugs as well. And if these kids don't connect and they still want to run off and do sports or whatever, I don't care. I'm not there for them. It's not their birthday. Right. It's this kid's birthday. That's the hardline connection. And you leave there, and then you get a phone call, or you get a text message, or you get an email, or you get a card in the mail later from the parents or even the grandparents, which is really cool. Somebody who really wasn't even, may not have said a word to me the whole time we were there, but I get this thankful this thought-provoking, heartfelt notification
And
somewhere
oftentimes it's like a game
later
of golf
on.
where sometimes it's great, and when it's great, it's great. When it's bad, it's bad. But regardless of how bad you think you did, as long as that kid had fun,
Yeah, and everything's different.
And it ends up being like it was amazing anyway. I've been told I've done where I thought was bad programs,
Oh yeah.
but then the family's just like, you're
Well,
the
there's
best person in the world.
there's two good things going on. One, there's very few things you can compare it to.
Yeah.
So, it's not like being at the movie theater where it's a
Yeah.
good movie or bad movie and you got people around you that are, causing but there's going to be that. There's going to be the uncontrollables that are happening in every program. And again, this falls back on the people working for me. And I don't put it on me. I put it on the fact that I'm so lucky to have good, qualified, capable people. Craig, Steve, these folks that have floated in and out. There's been a few people that have floated in and out over the years that just for whatever reason they couldn't do it, and they were there for a while and they've backed out. There was a point in time where they were there, they were connected, and it was happening, and it was always good. I can probably count on one or two fingers the amount of bad programs that I've had. And if it was a bad program, it wasn't even a controllable. It was because halfway through the program, the fire alarm went off and it was a fire drill, or halfway through the program, the electricity went out, or halfway through the program, something happens that is so uncontrollable that just kind of takes what is going to be another predictably good program and rolls it. But then we also have those moments, and this is where, we get into things and occurrences, and maybe this is something fun for people to listen to, is this is where not everybody can relate to this because not everybody has a job like this. But when you're in a program and you are put in charge of keeping the people entertained, and the people who coordinate these programs may or may not even be in the building. They have an office and they coordinate a program and they basically turn on the lights and then they leave, and you're there and you are in charge of everything. You have no backup. You have no backup system, no backup support. So if you've got misbehaving children, or you've got misbehaving adults, or you've got these uncontrollables that are going on, you have got to figure out how to navigate those moments. I have had kids, and I'm talking very young children, running relay races up and down the center hallway during the program, where they're literally having foot races back and forth from the back of the room to right up to my tables, literally right to me, where they got to turn around and then they race. And that happens for 2 or 3 minutes until I realize either there's no parent in the room, or that parent has got their nose in a cell phone and they have no clue what is actually happening. And I have to stop what I'm doing, control the situation, find out who belongs to these people, because it's never the kid's fault. I don't ever blame these kids. I just don't. I know better. So, and then we have to decide how we're going to handle this. Well, I out the parent. I find out who's in charge of these kids, and then I make a total, I embarrass them. And I do it very politely, but I embarrass this person, and I make them aware of the fact that their kids have now, whether it's their grandkids or their kids, it doesn't matter. But I make them aware of the fact that their kids are responsible for what is completely derailing the program. And nobody in the room can focus or enjoy the program because their kids are now a problem. But I don't blame those kids.
No.
I don't ever do that. I've had times where kids have crawled up underneath my tables. I've got what is basically a baby crawling that can't even walk, that has left whoever it belongs to and is now underneath my tables, pulling on the tablecloths, moving. And I realize all of a sudden nobody's looking at me. They're all looking under my tables. And I got to figure out stop what I'm doing, regroup, find out who this belongs to, and get control of the situation again. And again, I'm outing a parent because they're not doing their job. This is the level these programs can get to, but you've got to be able, I was going to say special enough, because I truly believe the people working for me are special on that level where they seem like they're able to do that. They seem like they're able to grasp and connect and put the program back together when all these uncontrollables are completely breaking it all apart. And I'm not going to get specific to types of programs. I'm not going to get specific to locations. I'm just going to tell you that I have In 10 years of this company running, in 10 years of full-time running programs, I have seen it all. I have seen blatant profanity. I've seen water battles. I've seen toys being played with. I've seen running relays and people doing stuff that they should just, why are you even there? Then I have the parents, I've got these adults who are going to drop their kids off and drive away. And I'm now in charge of their kids. But you know what? I don't blame the kids. I'm just glad they're there. And I haven't, to me, it is all about an opportunity to connect to these people. It's not about the parents who are in the back of the room not paying attention. It's not about the parents who just drove away. It's not about the parents who don't want to be responsible because they're afraid they're going to be embarrassed if they do, and it's too late. I'm going to embarrass them. I'm going to bring them on. I'm bringing them right into the spotlight. And I'm going to make it about them, not about the kids. But I have to do that in order to put them in control of the situation so I don't have to be in control of it. That is an aspect of this business that people don't get. And that totally is outside of all the administrative, all the technical. I'm scheduling Craig, and I'm scheduling you, and I'm scheduling trips, and I'm scheduling Steve, all these other things going on. So it's evolving, and we come back around and circle to the present of where the company is. This is just a daily feel for what's going on with this company, especially in my busy season when I'm doing programs and hammering out 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 programs, sometimes a day. You've been there for those days.
Those are long days.
Those are long days. But you know what? I leave at the end of the day and I come home and I might be exhausted, but man, am I happy to get up and do it all over the next day. I've never had a job where I've had cool jobs. Yeah. I've wrestled with shoplifters. I've driven airboats. I've done cool stuff in my lifetime, but I've never had a job where I wake up the next day and the premise is I'm going to go do bug programs, because that's what everybody, we're going to keep it general, bug programs, but every day I do that is different. Every audience that I stand in front of is different. Every location I go to is different. Even if it's the same program, it's really not.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this fun. And then at the end of the day, I'm appreciated for what I do. I've never had a job where I was appreciated at the end of the day to the level that I feel appreciated by not just the people who I'm there for, not just the librarians or the scout leaders or the parents at a birthday party. It's everybody. Even the people who walked in that day going, ooh, bugs. And
Most often not, they leave going,
and they leave the room going, holy shit, This is cool. That's a huge thing.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's like you and Steve and Craig, you guys all get that. You guys see that and you fully understand.
It's going to be received or have received it.
It's like you're a rock star, but you're not.
Yep.
But you feel like one, but you're not. And you're never paid like one because you're not, but you still get up the next day liking and loving what you do.
Do you think that's why clowns do what they do? Do you think they get the same kind of satisfaction?
Save that for the next one. Next episode, we'll talk about clowns. No, we won't. No, we won't. Okay, I want to move on, though. Because, again, I just want to make sure that on a present status, there's no huge changes in the immediate works for this. And we're going to talk about future here in a minute. But I want to delve, because we're running out of time again. We always burn out of time on these things way too quick because they're fun. I enjoy this. I hope everybody else does. I want to do something that's way out of the box here, and I want to go a place, not that we haven't kind of worked there already, but I want to go to a place, I want to take us outside of the Bugman realm, and I want to walk us into anything that isn't Bugman related.
Okay.
In other words, I want to say, okay, like we're not going to go politics. We're not going to do that. Hell no, we're not going to do that because that's just not my thing. I do want to walk us into just some basic stuff that is relevant that may or may not turn into Bugman or environmental or whatever the case is related, but I want to open up some doors that are relevant. And we're going to do that in a minute. Buddy, let's talk about, we talked about your prospective future plans or whatever, or where you foresee yourself going with the Bugman. And I talked mostly about the present status of the Bugman the LLC aspect. What I want to ask you at this point, for your sake, less about the Bugman end of things, but where do you foresee you going? What's your plan?
Just in general?
In general.
Definitely stay with the agency, I think. The benefit of USDA itself, or PPQ, there's 5,000 of us worldwide. So even within the nation, I think domestically there's probably almost 3,000 or 4,000 of us, not including international services. So it really gets to be a tight-knit community, and you get to know everybody. So I really don't want to leave.
You're going to stay in Laredo forever? Or what's your
No,
plan?
I'm not going to stay in Laredo. Like I had mentioned in, I don't know if it was earlier, one of the other episodes, but you do kind of have to hop, skip, jump around to climb the career ladder.
Do you have places you want to go more than others, or are you just going to let the company decide for you?
No. It's all on me, and you have to compete for the position. You still have to apply, and then...
So there's seniority-based stuff, and there's that kind of thing, or...
No, you apply, and, some of them are by, if you have the grade level, then you can apply for these, and then you may get the interview, and if you get the interview, because there's different rounds of vetting that they do, and then you still have to interview for it, and our interviews are a little unique, but you still have to get past that interview process. So even if I want to go, say something pops up in Phoenix, and I want to go to Phoenix, I'd love to live in Phoenix. I mean, I could
just when I need a third bug guy living in Phoenix. Yeah, great.
Or I did
Just kidding.
an in-person interview in Reno, Nevada, a month and a half ago, and did one the other day for a spot in Austin, and it didn't work out. I'd love to live in both places, but they didn't work out.
Do you have a place you would want to go more like Phoenix? But do you have a place that you in the U.S. where you would like to go?
It's hard. I want somewhere where I can really that matches my lifestyle. I want something that has outdoorsy stuff, whether that's hiking, hunting, fishing, mountain climbing. I want some place that is relatively affordable, something that has a decent sized population, because I can go out to Montana and live with in a town of 10 and get all that, but I don't necessarily want to live in Montana, and then also I have to think of, I need to have my career in mind, as well as I have to be in a place where I can work,
So you're not really putting it on a where do you want to live the most, or where do you think?
If it
but
checks the
definitely not Laredo is not. You're not there forever. You're definitely going to be looking for greener, for lack of a better term, greener pastures, and you foresee yourself being somewhere that is more of a variety of outdoor opportunity, hunting, fishing, hiking,
all that stuff.
that kind of stuff. So probably Utah, probably maybe Arizona, maybe Colorado, maybe Montana, maybe South, but probably not Seattle.
No.
Probably not San Diego. There, probably not Pittsburgh.
No.
Probably not,
and maybe
Maine.
The Carolinas, We have head of field ops offices in both North Carolina and Colorado. So.
And you know what? Both of those places would be fantastic Bugman opportunities. Just saying. Till anybody else is hiring from those areas, it sure would be nice to have somebody there, because Laredo ain't producing, that's for sure. In all seriousness, I'm happy for you that you're happy, that you like what you're doing. You've earned it. I see you thriving, and I see you making big plans, dude. Both in a financial security for your future, which is huge now, as well as just basic love of the job and quality of life. And that's very cool. That is such a good feeling for me to know that you're able to do that. So kudos to you. I don't know if I've talked to you much about the 5 to 7 year plan with the Bugman. Right. I talk a little bit about it with a lot of people, but not everybody. And I've never mentioned it on the channel, because it's one of these things where if this doesn't pan out, then I'm going to have to come back 4, 5, 7, 8 years from now and explain to the world why this didn't happen. So I'm reluctant to discuss it on big open, but we're going to talk a little bit about it, because it's something that is very exciting to me. We'll call it the next chapter in my life, because I'm still 29. I will always be 29 until I don't feel like I'm 29 anymore. But as long as I'm able,
I just turned 29 for the second time this year.
See that? See, exactly. Everybody should be 29. But the plan is, at this point, my short term is to just keep things going, grow the channel, hire more people, find somebody to run the company, find somebody to, I've already got people lined up helping me with admin. I've got an editing team. I've got all these things. I'm great at delegating things out, but at some point I've got to like walk away from Pennsylvania. I cannot like yours. I don't want to be in Pennsylvania forever. I don't plan to retire in Pennsylvania, and I'm probably never going to retire on a hard sense where I'm not going to have a job anymore. The nicest, coolest thing about this business and this job is I can take this job anywhere in the world, let alone in the country. Yeah. But in order to do that and still have a life and have a prospective quality of life where I'm not stuck in a rental, apartment somewhere, stuck. I don't want to be stuck. My goal is to take everything I'm doing right now, put it in an RV, and take it on the road. And I want to be able to go to San Diego or go to Orlando or go to North Carolina or come to Texas or go to Colorado and go do programs there. But I want to be able to do it on a mobile aspect. I want to take the BugMan and go completely mobilized and completely open up a whole new doorway of not only YouTube content, because I'll take the channel on the road too. Everything I'm doing now just goes mobile. And I can't think, personally, for me, I can't think of a better way to retire than to have the freedom, than to have the freedom of going wherever I want to go, staying wherever I want to stay, respectively, and having the ability to make thousands of people happy all year long, but do that all over the country.
Places, yeah.
Just wherever I'm called, wherever they want me to come to. If I can logistically make it happen, I will have the ability. But I can't do that yet. I would have done that years ago. I just can't do it yet. I got too many things happening in the present that I'm not prepared to do that.
Responsibilities suck, don't they? I
keep mine as limited as I can. So, no, not really. I'm okay with that. I've relinquished myself of a lot of things over the years just by cleaning up my world and making things easier and less stress-free. So, but that's a lot of the reason I want to take this and sort of level up, but at the same time to do that, I also have to downsize. I got to get rid of my house. I got to make sure my kids are good and stable. I got to make sure my finances are stable. So there's a lot of things that will play into this plan that are uncontrollable. If my kids aren't doing well, I'm probably not going to leave. If my finances aren't ready, I'm not going to leave. If the housing market tanks and I can't sell my house for a decent, I'm probably not going to leave. There are so many uncontrollables that will get in the way of that. But if everything comes together, if the BugMan gods are there for me and everything comes together, then I will have this entire company on the road and I'll be mobile. And I really look forward to that. That's a whole new aspect of the BugMan LLC.
So
I can
like
still
and subscribe so that we can both do this.
so like and subscribe so we can both do that. Yeah, I get it.
Have you liked the video yet?
So I want to put that out there because that's the big plan for the long-term future. For the time being, I'm going to continue to do what we're doing. I'm going to continue to hire more people if I can to make a lot more people around this country a lot happier and just keep promoting and inspiring people about bugs and insects and the coolness of it. Education is a big deal. I love what we do. I cannot thank you more for being part of this. From literally before day one, you've been there. Again, man, every person on this team is integral for their own purposes. They have their own strengths. They have their own weaknesses. We all work together really, really well as a team. I look forward to seeing and hearing from you guys more often on the channel. Forward to bringing you more content. I look forward to all this cool stuff that we get to do, just keeping the world a little happier, because it's an angry world right now, man. So it's so nice to be in a job and so nice to be appreciated from you folks and for all the folks that we get to connect with. So I want to end this here. We're probably out of time again. I stopped looking at the timer a long time ago. But folks, I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I can't think of a better way to end this than on a drawn out, long, rambling high note. But that's really where I want to go with this. I'm going to continue to ramble for a few more minutes. But either way, man, thank you so much. Of course, like and subscribe if you're not there yet.
Remember, save a horse, ride a cowboy. He'd been waiting 20 years to get me in his basement.
He just wanted to say that. He didn't care. He was going to say it earlier, but he just finally said it. Good segue. See you later, guys. Take it easy.